Safe Steps is the organisation that the police will contact or a person experiencing violence will contact before they contact a family violence service. We arrange for women and children, mainly women, but it could be anyone, a person from the LGBTIQ community, a guy, a neurodiverse person, and all their children to get into an emergency accommodation like a hotel before they can go to a refuge. What my role is, I'm a Disability Liaison Officer there, is to make sure the needs of a person with a disability is met so they can go to a refuge. So it might be a person experiencing violence, we call them victim survivors, who has a disability. They might also have a temporary disability because they've been bashed up, for instance, because of the violence, or they have children with a disability. They're on the NDIS, the NDIS won't move with them, so what we provide is around 9 weeks of support. And if they can't take their wheelchair with them, we'll provide a new wheelchair. If they can't get their support workers to move with them, we'll provide a support worker until they can get all that in place. So it's a really good initiative because lots of people with disability, one of the reasons they don't leave their current home is because they're concerned about their disability needs won't be met. On the other hand, we'll also help a victim survivor to stay at home. Some victim survivors have had their house modified. So it's really difficult for them, or they think it's going to be difficult for them to move on. So we'll try and keep them as safe as possible. And that's things like personal alarms, security cameras to make sure they can stay safe at home. So yeah, it's a really rewarding job and making a difference because there are a lot of people with disability out there who are victim survivors. As you know from our work at Women with Disabilities Victoria, women with disabilities are, I can't remember the figure, it's at 63% more likely to experience family violence. And it might be sexual violence, it could be financial abuse, it could be gaslighting, a whole range of things. So that's what I do. So yeah, it's good.
I think the full range of abuse isn't very widely known, and I think that's something as women, I hate to say it, we have more of an insight into via need, I guess.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Safe Steps is the first spot before going on to...
Yeah, before going on to a refuge. On the other hand, there are family violence services like the Orange Door, and they will contact us for a secondary consult because we've got the contract, if you like, the holder of what's called the Disability Family Violence Crisis Response Initiative, DFVCRI, which is the pot of money to make sure that we can meet the disability needs of someone with a disability when they leave home. And we have a relationship with an organisation called Assistability, which is a support service, but their workers are not just disability support workers. They've got experience and have done training in family violence. So it's that intersection of making sure they understand what's happening. A lot of people, and not necessarily a person with a disability, is experiencing anxiety. Might be only temporary, but that's a disability. One of the great things about what we do is we don't go on the normal definition of disability that the NDIS does, because it can be a temporary disability, or it can be just heightened mental health issues because of what's happening to them. Help them over that hump to make it a bit easier for them to leave home. They might need an accessible taxi, for instance, just to leave home. Wow. We can provide that sort of thing. So that's good, yeah.
So who is what service actually passes them on to you? Because obviously they wouldn't call you direct, they would call 000. So does 000 have you in their books? Tell me about the chain of command there.
It can be from anything and anyone. Yes, police do contact us. One thing I should say, we don't work with the women or the person experiencing violence, we work with their case managers. So it could be the police. They're not case managers, but we'll get a case manager for the person. It could be another family violence service. It could be a disability service where the staff there suspect something strange is going home. So we do secondary consults. So if someone's a bit suspicious that this person's behaviour is changing, or for some people with disabilities, they don't even know they're being abused. So that's another area that we work in, and capacity building, to assist people with disability understand what is abuse.
So take us through that process. How do you take someone from not realising they're being abused to recognising the signals that they actually are getting abused?
One thing I've recently developed is information in easy English to look at what is family violence, what is abuse, what is a refuge, what is an IVO. Lots of people don't know about an intervention order that will prevent, in writing, a perpetrated form. It might have things they can't go anywhere near where you live. So there are certain things that we will assist someone, the case manager, to assist someone with a disability to put in place. And yeah, so it's education. We're doing more and more about education. That's capacity building to assist people to understand what is violence. So we might go to a day centre, for instance, and give a talk to help people at the day centre, both the staff and the clients, what is violence. Because a lot of people don't realise, they think it's got to be something physical or sexual, and there's a whole range of other violence out there, which is a bit more underhanded, I guess. Yeah.
Surreptitious.
Coercive,
Yeah.
coercive, yeah.
Take me through your journey. How did you get into the advocacy space? How did you get into this violence against women with disabilities space? Obviously, you have your own experience of disability. Take me through your journey.
Well, I acquired my disability back when I was a teenager, and I lost the ability to speak for a while, and I was overseas when I acquired my disability, and I don't speak Dutch. So going into a Dutch hospital, not understanding the language, gave me some insight to what it's like to have an intellectual disability where people don't understand what you're saying or don't give you the time. So after my rehab and a few operations, that was about 2 years, I decided to study and go into advocacy to help other people on the journey to have a life. And one of the jobs I had, and I've had lots of jobs and lots of project work, was with Women with Disabilities Victoria. And I guess I'm very fortunate, and I've not been abused in any way, and I was really shocked at the statistics and just understanding the level of abuse women with disabilities in particular experience. So I sort of fell into that. And one of the jobs I had was a real eye-opener. I worked at Chisholm Institute for a very short time during COVID, and that was the first time I realised the impact of living with violence has, because the women, mainly women who were on staff, were working from home like we all were in lockdown. They couldn't actually leave the perpetrator who was around them 24/7. So it gave me a real insight on what a horrible existence. So that's how I ended up working at Safe Steps. Yeah, I guess trying to make a difference. And you can't make a difference to everyone's life. And I'm learning, because I've only been there a year, that it might take a woman, usually a woman, 4, 5, 6 goes to leave a violent home. It doesn't happen, but we support them each time. Because it takes a lot of courage, and it's not easy to leave the situation. People think, why doesn't the woman leave? And there's 100,000 reasons why a woman doesn't leave. They've got kids, they've got no money, they love the person, they think love will conquer all. So there's a range of reasons why.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what brings you here to the National Brain Injury Australia conference, and can you tell me what you think or how you see this conference making a difference in the wider society or wider sector?
For me, I've come here specifically because of the intersection of ABI and family violence. A lot of women might acquire an ABI because of the violence they're experiencing, and I've learned even in the short time I've been here, and this is day 2, is that concussion, which someone might not lose consciousness, but it's that concussion they get daily, weekly, of being punched in the head that accumulates, and then they do have an ABI, and trying to assist them to understand what's happening and what assistance we can provide. And when it's an intimate partner violence, I'm learning how that all works, because that's new to me, I guess, to better understand the pathological impact that has. So that's been really insightful, and I'm sitting on a communication, just trying to better understand what it is to be a victim survivor. Yeah, so I find it really, and networking is wonderful. It's always wonderful at a conference to network. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me today, Sharon, and thanks for telling us about Safe Steps, and thank you for heading into this DV area, which is still very, very murky and dark for lots and lots and lots of people. It's still something that's getting light shone on it.
And I should say, Victoria's the only state that has this initiative. which is really sad for the other states. Like, so yeah, at least in Victoria we can address some of the issues.